everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, joined today by Eric Teskey. Eric, this is like Thor 19. We're very excited for this issue. First issue of 2025. Like, how are you feeling going into this review as we get amped up for this one?
What an issue to kick off the year. It's a banger issue. It has my mind reeling with all the different threads and ways that we could look at this. So really excited to dig into this.
Truly, I couldn't agree with you more. And we're joined by Faz. Faz is here to review Thor 19. And Faz is also going to introduce us to our special guest for this episode as well.
Listeners, I'm back and better than ever this year. This issue involves kind of, it looks like it's an inner look into how Al Ewing's brain works, and that there's 60 million things going on at once that we assume are there in the background. They're finally in the foreground. It required a bunch of artists, a bunch of stories, and because of that, it needed some truly god tier editing. So our guest today is the editor of Thor himself. Will Moss is here. Will, how's it going, man?
Good. Yeah, it's going well, guys. Nice. I got a really overcast, kind of cloudy, thundery day here in New York, so it feels like an appropriate time to be talking about Thor.
Perfect. Talking about storms. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Will, you were able to join us a while back, in before times, to where we talked about Immortal Thor 5 when all the Thor Corps got together. I feel like we kind of we asked you to come on for the issues where everybody gets together and we've got, do a giant, almost like team book.
The most wrangling.
Yeah. My goodness. I know before we jump into the actual issue, myself and Paz and Eric, we on our little group chat that we have together, months ago, we're like, how are they going to do this? Because it's so much. Can you the obvious question, wrangling this issue together, how did that come to be?
So it all started off when Al was telling me about his plans for the next few issues, and we would talk every month or two, kind of go through where he's at, the story. I mean, he's got the macro plan laid out for a while, but he didn't always have the exact issues figured out till it gets a little closer to him. So we talk and touch base, and he said for 19 he was thinking about having that be several stories checking on Thor's cast while Thor's away, and I just had the idea. I said, I just kind of spur of the moment said, Al, what if you have every page be its own story and we get multiple artists? And Al was just immediately on board. He knew what I was proposing before I finished the sentence, because yeah. So it was a challenge, but it was a thing that we both kind of, I think, respond to in terms of fun challenges like that. So he took it and ran with it and came back with a great script. And then casting all the artists for it was, I mean, I can just keep going. I can talk you all through it if you want, or we can just
that would be awesome.
Things
Please
or whatever.
Do, yeah.
But, I mean, it was, because it started off with, it's tricky when there's you can cast anybody, and that's tough to figure out. Your brain kind of can't process where to go. So first step was kind of figuring out any logical connections. There's a page that deals with Athena and Zeus, and it calls back to Al referenced a moment from his Guardians run with Athena performance magic, and it was Juan Cabal drew that run. So we went to Juan to draw that page, and Valerio Schiti drew, Sif's solo run in Journey and Mystery back in the day. That was kind of Valerio's big break. And I know he loves Sif. So again, for the page that's just a solo Sif page, he was a natural go-to for that. Yeah. We knew we wanted Martin Coccolo back to do something for this. So we picked a page that where he designed a lot of the characters and the setting for. And then just kind of went from there. Jan, when we got the script and there was the opening, the last page are kind of the one thing where there's a real shared scene, it's the same character, same setting. It felt like that was a good place to deploy Jan, because it was the issue opens and she's welcoming all the guest artists, and then the issue closes and she's there to end it as it bridges into the next issue.
Yeah.
So that took us back to, that broke the conceit a little bit of a different artist for every page. So that's 19 artists instead of 20. But then Danny Kazem, the associate editor on the book, pointed out, well, that's perfect because this is issue 19. So it all kind of worked together. Yeah.
Well,
very cool.
Go ahead, Faz.
On that topic, Will, I know we've had a bit of a juggling about the artists as we've gone through with Thor, and we've landed on someone who's been really nailing it so far and is getting better each issue we see too. Can you talk about how you kind of settled on Jan being our person and having their version of Thor be now what we're getting for a while? Because everybody on this panel is a huge fan of their work and everything that's been going so far.
Yeah. Jan is amazing, right? And she really has kind of come into her own on this book. I mean, Jan's not her first a trip in Asgard. I worked with Jan years ago on a Loki miniseries that she drew. That Daniel Kibblesmith wrote. So, but in the years since, she's really progressed a lot as an artist. And I've been reading the Captain Marvel series that she drew, the Alyssa Wong volume, and just was impressed with everything that she did there because there was a lot of Earthbound scenes dealing with Captain Marvel's, the person she was tied to was just a normal, like, everyday person who was
right.
So she drew all that stuff really well, but then also got into like the negative zone and all these crazy visuals there. So I've been impressed with Jan, and had liked working with her several years ago. So when Martine left to go launch the current Wolverine series, we looked at all different kinds of options, and Jan just kept coming back to Jan in my head. And the timing worked out with that Captain Marvel volume wrapping up for her to come on and take over. Her and Matt Hollingsworth, I think, have been doing some really great work on the book, and it's been fun seeing her kind of step up. She's drawing 22 right now, and it's another crazy issue. And it's just amazing to see all these crazy fight scenes that she's having to draw. And it's Al's given her a fun challenge. I'll tell you a little about that issue too. So that's 22, and Al's again come up with something kind of fun, like formally there, where you flip a coin. Like the reader's invited to flip a coin to determine which page they go. So whether they go forward a page or whether they go back a page. And so it's great. Jan designed the coin, and it involves a lot of like the panels needing to overlap a little bit. So like if you do go back a page, it makes sense that you go back to the top panel of the previous page. And so Jan's just able to keep up with Al real well and just draw the hell out of all this stuff from Asgard and the cast. So yeah.
You guys are having way too much fun with this run. Like the different creativity you're showing is amazing. Like just letting Al Ewing off the leash and letting him do all of everything he's ever wanted to do.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, Al's one of a kind. He's got that guy, he does it all so well. He's one of the few genuinely funny writers in comics, which is such a hard thing to do. But then he can do drama so well, and he's really inventive and creative, and he's such a good collaborator, like in terms of the artists he works with, but also in terms of like other books' continuity. Like he folds all that stuff in. You all know he folds all that stuff in so naturally and organically. Right. He's really he's just born to write comics. So yeah, very happy to be working with Al on this.
Speaking of continuity, I love, one of the things that gets me so excited is seeing all the little Easter eggs and all the little references and trying to sort of like trace back, like, oh my gosh, it's that thing from that thing, and I like go back and find the issues and stuff.
4 years ago.
I got a question for you. Why don't you give us more editor's notes? Why aren't there more asterisks? Because there are so many. Would it just bog it down with too many like footnotes to make it not like interrupting, I guess, the flow of the story?
I mean, especially in an issue like this, it would for sure. But that's something that Al, it's a preference of his. Like he feels like it's in general, not on all books, but like that they interrupt kind of the flow of the story. Like he kind of feels like it's better to just allude to the stuff in a way that if you know, but if you don't know, it's fine, and he doesn't feel like you have to go do some homework or something like that. Like he's I think trying to be a little like holistic about the books, just letting them be just the story rather than have, an outside voice come in and like interrupt things, so to speak. And it's been that way on this, and it was that way on Immortal Hulk, which I also do with Al, and even like on the Ultimates. I think it was when Al and I worked on the Ultimate series together. and I'm talking about like a couple years ago, back when it was set in the main Marvel universe, and it was like Blue Marvel and Captain Marvel and Black Panther. And we started doing in there, like, well, maybe I forget where it started exactly, but we did additional reading. Like we would put on the letters page, like we would say, like, that's where we'd kind of like put in stuff for, if you want to know more about this. But even that we've kind of like phased out. There's just one point where a couple issues ago, it dealt with Enchantress's son who died in Strange Academy, and who obviously a lot of this is revolving around this very issue. And I just made the case to Al that I thought this was such a specific reference to a book that had previously not been mentioned at all in the Thor series that we needed something. And so we compromised by having editorial note in there, but it was Loki, like the narrator, like did the editor's note. Like it wasn't a straight up editor's note. It was still within the voice of the book, which I thought was a fun kind of way around getting an editor's note in there. So yeah.
Oh, we even referenced a few reviews ago. We had an issue where we're referencing the I think it's the issue that Magni shows up in. It was like we're referencing Dan Jurgens, we're referencing a little bit of Donny Cates's run. There were I think 3 different runs referenced in one issue, and we're sitting here like, what is this madman doing? Like,
he runs it all together, right?
All of them together.
Yeah. There's a scene in another 21 that's coming up where he kind of Scourge's like not whole history, but he takes a page where he just kind of threads Scourge's appearances in like 5 different series over the last 40 years into one page, where it's just kind of like it makes it all feel like it's really was always one story, as opposed to different creative teams over the years coming in and doing their thing. So he's definitely it's one of his talents, many talents.
We've seen like that, because of previews and, Marvel previews are really fun to look through, having that bit of, time to get used to like, oh, that's what that cover is going to be. Oh, there may be like a preview image here or there. But the cover for Immortal Thor 21, I mean, there was so much for us to talk about there, because there's different little aspects in there that even, we're just like, how is that going to work? How are they going to get there in 2 issues? And it was just, I love when we get that Alex Ross cover that makes us ask so many questions leading up to it. And like the cover for 20 is badass too. Like that, I mean, especially with how this issue ended. But gosh, I mean, Faz, do you have any other behind the scenes questions, Eric, behind the scenes before we actually like dig into the issue itself?
First thing, Will, I love when you come on the podcast because you are the biggest hype man for this run every time. You always go, oh, boys, if you think this is cool, just wait, because 2 issues from now, shit's about to get crazy. It's awesome. It's like the extra little details, right, are always super cool that only all the things, like we can get other people part of the team who might know this or that, but you run the show. You kind of keep the thing rolling. So that other than that, I'm ready to jump in unless if Eric's got any more general behind the scenes stuff to get to.
Yeah, I had a geeky kind of wanting to know kind of how the sausage is made question. Like, do you all have like your own database of notes, of references, of footnotes, of timelines, of all this stuff to keep track of? Or have you just been doing it so long that it feels familiar? Like, oh yeah, this happened then because I was on that book too. I mean, is it more about just your recollection, or are there like tables and charts in a room with the red thread going through it?
There's nothing like official like that, other than just like, the collective memory. I mean, we're always, if anybody has a question about something that references, I mean, we'll ask other editors, check with other offices. We'll look at the books themselves, and we've got, our files. We can pull up anything we need to. But then, after a while too, you do just start being able to be your own reference point for working on stuff. Because
So, Eric, what I just heard was the next time we need to go to a Marvel trivia night, Will is the person we need to have tag along.
Oh my gosh.
Or can you imagine? Just bring an internet connection. That's all you really need. I mean, for reference questions and stuff.
Just like walking and like, hey, everybody, you're going to want to watch this guy cook for the next hour. It's going to be. But yeah, we're ready to dig into the actual issue. It's another phenomenal Alex Ross cover with actually a character that doesn't really show up in the book on the cover. It's one of those classic Marvel, like, this is not going to actually happen in the book, but we're going to get like a Tales of Asgard all-star team. It's going to be great. Thor is kind of, I mean, he's looking a little come hither on this cover. He's got a little bit of glint in his eye as he's pondering, I believe, just pondering over things. And the world tree is in the background. Mjolnir's at his feet. Tormod is at his feet as well. Another great Alex Ross cover. Faz, this was one we were looking forward to for a few months, ever since I think Alex Ross put it out on social media, or I think one of you shared this to me, and I was like, this looks incredible.
Yeah, this one is like objectively one of the best ones he's done, which is hilarious that it's not one that has Thor in the book, but it's just like, it's so good. And it's got, the new belt, it's got all the new weapons around it. And it's just like, it keeps the kind of idea that this story is the iconic modern Thor story that's threading it all together. Like, this is a classic Thor in a classic costume on the classic throne of Asgard with the world tree behind him. This is the story of the Immortal Thor. And they even use Tales of Asgard, which I love, Will, because every time you do that, I make a joke that you guys are borrowing my Tales of Asgard segment. And I appreciate that you guys are going through.
Sure, yeah. Keeping the term out there for, yeah.
Well, Eric, what do you think about this one? Yeah.
My theory is that sometimes when the cover is almost the most generic to the plot, like it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the actual story, that's some of the most important or like pivotal moments, because it's either like hard to like capture it in a vague way where it's not spoiling it, or it's just a wonderful image that serves any story. I mean, this could be almost any issue of the book as long as Thor's still alive, and it could work. But then we see some of the more plot specific, like comparing this to the preview for 21, which it is much more. This probably has something to do with a very specific plot point.
21 does feel very specific.
Yeah.
So
it's also kind of like a calm before the storm cover. A little bit.
Yeah.
It's the last kind of shot of Thor.
Right before we get into the next big arc. Yeah. It's
it's
something sorry, one more behind the scenes question. I know when Al joined, he talked about it being in his mind a 50 book run. Mm-hmm. We've heard rumors that it's not necessarily 50, might be less, might be more, really depends on how he's feeling as he goes. Do you see this as about to get to around the halfway point of the story? Are we still kind of in the beginning, the middle, the end? Where are we at from how you imagine the Immortal Thor story going?
Yeah, it's coming up on kind of the middle. It's coming up kind of to the climax of the first half a little bit. It's gonna, but in a lot of ways, it's also kind of, there's, I don't want to get into any spoilers, but
that's great.
It's about halfway through, and there's big changes coming up, but so it's like, in a way, this is only the beginning, because there's a lot still ahead, even beyond the halfway point. It's gonna be pretty exciting stuff.
Well, even to throw you a lifeline, Will. That
was the perfect way to answer that. Very
within the issue, I believe it's Loki or Tilwaz says like, oh, like we're about to like see the wheel turn again, and Loki even says like, oh, well, the end of the first little like bit is happening, and I'm working on this thing. So actually, the story itself even tells us like, okay, we're kind of closing in on the big first part, and we're going to launch into the next one. So I even think the book is kind of telling us that. Yeah,
the line, "We've been in autumn too long, great grandfather. There must be a winter." Right. That's just.
Right.
Yeah.
And even like, I think it was in was it the Timeless book for this year? We see like a few different things like that we assume are Thor related are coming. And that's exciting as well, to watch those like little titles. I think is that still Jed McKay that's doing the
not this year. I think this year it was Jackson and Colin. I think they wrote this year's
Lovable Scamps. But yeah, to watch the like that.
No, it was Steve Fox wrote this year's. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But it's just kind of exciting to see that kind of forecasted a little bit.
Yeah.
We should get into the actual book. The cover is fantastic. Obviously, Alex Ross, written by Al Ewing, or as we call him here on the podcast, the Al Father. Done by so many different artists and so many different color artists. I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of them as we break this down. One of our personal favorites, the lettering god Joe Sabino, still slinging those words.
Right.
We're this podcast could also probably be just called the Joe Sabino Fan Club. We're big fans. And then edited by this guy named Will Moss and a team of other editorial gurus. Every time your name is on a book, Will, we get excited because we've gotten really used to being associated with great comics.
Thanks, man.
So we jump in, and the first page is kind of one we've come to know really well. Is Al puts in these quotes from the Eddas. So, well, I got a question about these little quotes. Al gets to choose these, pick them kind of where they want. Was there like a reason he wanted to start off so many of the issues with these quotes, other than just kind of a vibe check?
Well, I mean, the book takes a lot structurally from Immortal Hulk, and that's another series where it started off every issue with a quote. And so that's something that Al just has kind of carried over here, just obviously changing where he gets those quotes. Immortal Hulk had a lot of like biblical quotes and quotes from all over the map, but Al's, could find himself here to being more from Norse myth and all that stuff. So
awesome. Yeah. We talked a little bit about the first page. Jan Bazaldua, our recurring artists here on the Immortal Thor book, who we've become really big fans of. You mentioned earlier, Will, working with Daniel Kibblesmith and Alyssa Wong too. And listeners, if you're doing Across the Bifrost bingo, that's two former guests that have already been brought up.
Nice.
So Alyssa Wong, huge fan of their work, and Daniel Kibblesmith spent Christmas morning with us here on Across the Bifrost, and we talked about nice. the holiday issue that that was a hoot. But Jan Bazaldua is here to start us off with this giant cosmic scape, looking out on the Bifrost, and we see a little itty bitty flying dot going into the background. Eric, I'm just gonna throw this to you, man. Like, opening up this book, we know we're going to get a lot of art. Like, the first impression of this page.
Well, I think it is nice that like technically Thor is in this book, because you see he's itty bitty Thor off into the distance. So.
Did you just actually me, comic book guy? Really?
Actually, Thor is in the book. He's just flying away. Yeah. So I love, I'm a big fan of space drama, space Vikings. It's nice to see, space depicted. It just anchors it in fantasy and surrealism and stuff. I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to say, anchoring it in fantasy, but it lets us know, that this is really the Asgard of the cosmos. And so anything can happen. And there are these farther places and areas that are even further out, away from Midgard, that we might be seen. We might not be. We know we see Heimdall later on in the story, that we can assume is either got lost on the way out there or is way out there. But it sets the stage for the grand epicness and the grandeur. I think the magnitude of what could happen here.
And Sif is kind of one of our major point of view characters in this issue, because on the next page we see Magni show up, and Magni is still a character that we're getting used to. But Will, who better to bring Magni to life than his creative father, Dan Jurgens, and Brett Breeding is also on this page as well. Was it kind of just a no-brainer to give Dan Jurgens this page?
Yeah, that was another one of those ones where we're initially starting out just to kind of figure out how to go about casting those. You look for those connections, and with Magni playing such a central role in this, we knew we wanted to get Dan involved, the creator of Magni. So and he was really excited about it. He was excited that he knew we were using Magni. He was excited about that, and then he was excited to get a chance to participate in his return. So
I love the kind of the setup of the issue for Magni is Sif being like, "Hey man, just like go have a field trip. Like, go have a fun day."
See our Asgard,
our Asgard. I love that. I love that Magni even he gives us a little bit of a narrative like answer here, where he's like, no, I'm not the heir. Like, I don't want to be the heir. Like, I'm good. And then because on the next page we see Amora doing really her standard pose. Like, her standard pose is fainting couch sideways, drinking something, looking through a portal and being like, I don't like this, because Magni is not really on board with his mom's plan. And this page is brought to life by I'm gonna try my best. Luciano Vecchio.
Luciano Vecchio.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And so with this page, Faz, we have some Amora fans that listen, and they're very passionate about this character and how they're being used. What did you think this page like evoked for you? Because she kind of shows her hand a little bit.
Well, firstly, on behalf of our biggest fan in the world, Alex, her Instagram is Realm Trekker. She loves Amora. The fact that you guys have used Amora so much means so much to her, Will. So, thank you on her behalf.
Sure.
Seeing the kind of scheming in the back of the curtain here, where she's deciding this issue, am I really going to do this super evil thing I've set up, or am I going to change, is really cool to see. Like, do I want the all power, and will I do anything to get the all power, including killing my son, who I just brought back? Is crazy. And the whole time she's like, I'm not that evil, right? And as we'll see as the issue continues, is she? We will have to see. Again, masterful use of this character.
One small little like Easter egg thingy in here. The artist's choice with the Odin to go with a little bit more of a Jack Kirby Odin was a little thing that just warmed my heart. Seeing the different, generations of
yeah.
On the next page we have Karen S. Darbo.
Karen Darbo.
So I feel like I've read something recently with her artwork as well, and I can't recall the issue or what the title was, but this was a very dark, grim page, Will, where Scourge is like in the corners. He's like, the call is coming from inside the house kind of vibes. And Amora has this conversation with him where he also kind of shows his hand as well. They've had a bunch of history, and you said we're going to get a little bit more about Scourge in a few issues. Scourge now playing this part in this story. How has it been to kind of orchestrate his place in this story? Because he's kind of like a side character, but he's becoming more prominent, bouncing in and out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just kind of any character that comes in Al's orbit can't help but then become like a really three-dimensional character with their own internal conflicts and arc. I mean, so yeah, Scourge, I think he's best remembered for the moment in Simonson's run where he sacrificed himself to let everybody else get out, and so I think he's kind of lived in that shadow for the character for ever since then. And Al's, I think, kind of really embraced that and made that like his story is how he kind of wants to reclaim that lost glory a little bit. So yeah, while also obviously going hand in hand with his relationship with Enchantress over the years. In a lot of ways they're like Thor and Sif, where there's just so much history between the two at this point that it's almost like a third character there between them. Like there's so it's a kind of interesting mirror, I feel like, and Al's doing good stuff with it.
The relationship itself is a character that we have history with. I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of another character that Thor has history with, we get our first glimpse of Beta Ray Bill since way back in the Thor core issues, I believe, and we get a reference to one of my favorite limited series of all time, and it's Daniel Warren Johnson's Beta Ray Bill series, which, I mean, a lot of comics kick ass, but Daniel Warren Johnson's Beta Ray Bill kicked all of the ass, I think.
Yeah.
I love the reference in here and him having the Twilight sword and the artist on this page. Oh goodness, I'm gonna flip back and forth through my
Jorge Fornes.
Okay, so why was he your selection for this page?
I love Jorge's art. He's just he can do it all. He's got he can be a chameleon and just be like anybody, but also his voice is just so strong when it's just pure him and doing his thing. He's just somebody that I've always kind of wanted to work with. And so when an issue like this came up where it was like, go get a bunch of artists who you don't necessarily, who you only need for one page, he's somebody that I reached out to and he was excited about it. And I thought it would be cool to see, Beta Ray Bill is just such a fun character to see different artists draw. So Jorge was a natural to me for this page. So, and he came through and just delivered all this. I mean, look how like atmospheric and just gorgeous this page is.
It's like the Eric, I don't know how you felt about this page, but like for me, it's like it's very grim in the foreground, but then there's the Bifrost in the background. It's giving that light and almost that pastel color to it. So there's good contrast, and I love how the Twilight sword looks on this page. Yeah. It's really like lava-y and almost like little like kind of faint like little Kirby crackle pieces throughout there. What did you think of this page, Eric?
Beta Ray Bill is one of my he's probably one of my top 5 favorite characters, like of all of any geekdom or anything like that. So it really cool to see. I agree, having our different artists take on it where you can tell it's the same character at first glance. I mean, Beta Ray Bill is the design is just so instantly recognizable, but then to see little subtle differences in like the shape of the eyes or the and the colors on this page really pop too. So I just love seeing it, brought to life in those different ways. I think we see I think Magni actually holding the sword, like he's getting to kind of try it out. Like Bill's like, hey, like this is the Twilight sword. And he's holding it above his head to sort of experience it for himself. I thought that was sweet.
I love that. Then, well, the next page is, we take this Beta Ray Bill scene a little bit further with Juan Ferreira's art. Looks like he broke out the colored pencils and went to town, Faz. Like this page, I almost like, just being like a complete novice sometimes with artists I don't know, I was like, is this Christian Ward art? Because this is insane. Like, and it's very crazy and chaotic, especially with that transformation scene. But what did you think about this page, Faz?
The transformation, like to see it like that as almost like visceral and yeah, it's incredible, and it shows the two sides of him, right? And like it's that inner conflict that is Beta Ray Bill right there in one panel with all the colors and all the beauty and all the ugliness all together. It's mind-blowingly good. And the discussion with Sif here too, I want to give credit to our guy Hercules for building this out for us in the notes. Eric, you want to talk a bit about why he's switching to talk to Sif?
Well, they have a history together, and just a little bit. And in the Daniel Warren Johnson run, that's really one of it's a catalyst. I'm not going to say it's the reason that Bill goes off on his quest to find really a way to transform back into his humanoid form when he wants to. But because at the start of the Daniel Warren Johnson miniseries, Stormbreaker had since been smashed in the Donny Cates run. And so in the very start of that book, Bill and Sif with their romantic history are going to get intimate, and she's like, are you going to switch back? You're like this horrifying horse creature. Like, and so it's kind of referenced here because she says, you need not change for me, Bill. And it's like, well, but you kind of do, because in the previous run, you weren't so down with it. And that kind of was one of the reasons why he goes off on his mini quest. So
Well, and Will, I was telling the guys earlier, like one of my favorite parts of this issue was the little like side panels here on this page where they talk about, Sif says, Bill says, I held the Twilight sword and felt triumph for a time. I have felt Mjolnir and felt belonging for a time. And I thought we were a thing. And she says, I'm not a weapon. And he says, but I am. And I love that tortured Beta Ray Bill is kind of, it feels like it's almost his default, because Simonson introduces him as kind of this martyr with a cause, with his people, the Corbinites. And it's just like, man, is our guy Beta Ray Bill ever going to get a happy ending, Will?
I don't know. I don't know who he is then if he gets a happy ending. I feel like it's kind of like
we cannot have a happy Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Maybe one day, but hopefully not anytime soon. Because
well, and if it happens, that the next writer is just going to blow up the happy planet or whatever and start right back on the circle.
Yeah. Right? God help whatever makes him happy. Yeah.
I mean, it's something that used to make him happy was Sif, and Sif's next page it's all her. It's Valeria Skeety, who is. I mean, I was telling the guys in our little pregame session, Will. I love the art we're getting, but if someday there was ever announced like, hey, by the way, Valerio Schiti is going to do like a Thor limited series or something like that, I'd be like, take all of my money right now. However, I'm just going to open my billfold and you can take what you want. I love his take on Sif here. She looks so strong. Obviously, she's gorgeous, and she has the specs in her eyes, like that kind of remind me of how Dodderman used to do Heimdall, where he would have like cosmos in his eyes. I loved this page, and we also find out that she's thinking of the Far Shore. She's thinking of Heimdall, and Heimdall's not really a character we've seen a ton of. And we go to the next page, and obviously we see Heimdall's got his hands busy. He's a little.
Heimdall died, right? He died several years ago at Al's hand back at the Jane Foster Valkyrie series. Yeah.
Al's hand. I love that. Baz, what'd you think about the reveal that Heimdall is? He's still around, and our guy Hermod is tangled up with him now.
I mean, this is another example of something that, like, a couple things that happened in the past. That one little mini arc that involved what happened to Hermod, and it's all coming back together, guys. It's coalescing. Thor is royally effed at some point. Everybody is coming for this man. There are 19 stories in this book, and all 19 are pointed at him with rifles.
The shorthand is like, Thor's not going to have like happy times ahead. There's a lot of shit coming his way.
Yeah.
That next page, Will, you mentioned that this was it Juan Cabal's page with Athena and Zeus?
Yeah.
And you mentioned this page was a callback to Al's time with Guardians, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I love that we get Zeus in this page, because Zeus was kind of like after issue, was it 14, I believe? After 14, where he kind of gets the crap kicked out of him. And
he was raisinified. Yeah. So he's kind of shriveled still.
Yeah. I love that he's still there. Like, he still looks kind of worse for wear, but we're checking in on Zeus. I like that as well.
He's like filled in a little bit. He's not quite as raisinified as he was. It'll take a little while for the juice to come back. That's all it is.
Yeah. Like, fed him some meals on Asgard since he got there. Yeah.
And Uller is kind of looking foreboding, because on that next page we see someone crying out from outside the hall, Uller's hall. And it's Scourge. Scourge has come for a weapon that is made of Asgardian magic. He's kind of done with mortals trying to, fix Asgardian problems, to say the least. But then we do get an editor's note here. For fans of editor's notes, and for fans of Marvel previews, we get a reference to the upcoming, Strange in Asgard book that's coming out. Well, I just have a quick question about that. Is that a limited series or a one shot? What's the format for that upcoming story?
It's a limited series to start with, but there's going to be more beyond that initial story. But yeah, okay. Right now it's a 5-issue series.
Okay, fantastic. We're very excited to see what Steven is going to be up to in Asgard.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So who's the team on that? Is that a book you're editing as well?
It's in my group. Alana Smith is editing that book. The writer's Derek Landry, and the artist is Carlos Magno. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's a fun book to kind of just it's very Asgard heavy. Like it takes place in Asgard and introduces a bunch of new Asgard characters. Like it's a cool book. It's really fun.
That Strange doesn't mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Strange feels like a character that you could just plop into Asgard and I have no questions asked. Like, yeah, okay.
But all the Asgardians are going to have questions, right? He's going to like prove himself constantly, like do a bunch of fun magic. Be like, oh, he's a wizard, he's a warlock. All right, we can use one of those. Loki's missing right now. Let's do this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That would be, gosh, that's going to be great. The next page, I'm going to need help on pronunciation here, Will, because I've always pronounced his name one way, and I have a feeling I've got it wrong. This is Steve Scroshy's page, correct?
Yeah. I think it's Steve Scrose, just like that. Yeah.
I love this because I just last year, I believe, I got his Thing series. Where
Clobbering Time. Yeah.
That was such a fun Ben Grimm book, and I love that he was writing it and doing the art, and he has a very like he has almost like a busy style. Like there's so much going on his pages, so much detail that I have to look it over a few different times. And I love that we get to see this tavern scene where, you know, the Warriors 3 show up. That's always a lot of fun.
Right.
Well, now the Warriors 4, right?
Oh,
yeah, the Warriors 4, right.
But with scenes like this, I know Al writes out the descriptions of his pages and his dialogue, but how much in a kind of a busy scene like this, how much liberty is given to the artist of like, yeah, you can have him doing this or whatever. Is Al pretty detailed with that?
I mean, yeah, Al will always kind of write like what the scene is, but always encourages artists to do their own thing. And sometimes they will, sometimes they'll just take his points and, you know, draw their own style. I mean, if I remember right, I think the script for that main panel in this had all the stuff that's in here. You know, Volstagg eating, had, you know, Fandral attacking while also flirting with the lady, the mother down there. Like, I think it was kind of all in there. But then, you know, he's never didactic about it. He lets people do their own thing for the most part. But
awesome.
But you know, yeah. So we just want to see Steve's take on this. When we talked with Steve about if he'd want to do this, then it was a matter of finding the right scene for him. And this just seemed like one that, you know, he could really dive his teeth into, since he does draw such like great detailed, you know, brilliant action. So this was a fun page to give to him. Get those giant arms of Magni when he opens the doors up there.
Oh, yeah.
He's
God of strength, no shit. Like it's when he opens those doors, and I love that he's in the rest of the panels on that page. He's just in silhouette. You just see at the door, and I just love that artistic choice of like, you know, the whole scene is very busy, and I almost forgot. All right, Magni is walking into this tavern, but he's like, actually, I'm good. Like, the next page was a tavern scene, but taking place in Valhalla, and we see Odin. Like it kind of feels weird to have a Thor book where we don't run into certain characters a lot. And Odin is one of those where, because, you know, some newsflash listeners, things happened to Odin in Donny Cates's run, and they were somewhat permanent-ish. But it led to that great Faz, what was that, 750? That was the
funeral for an Allfather. Yeah.
Nick
One
Klein,
of the best books, yeah.
Nick Klein is like, we love so many Thor artists, Will, but Nick Klein is one of those. Yeah. Every time I pick up an issue of Incredible Hulk now, I'm like, God, you're where you belong, but I do miss you. Like I do.
Yeah. He's a definitive Thor artist for sure, and that's a hard title to achieve. Yeah.
This page too, like, it just hurt my soul, how sad Odin is, and the reasoning being that he doesn't even visit me. Like, how many parents know this feeling, right? Like the inner turmoil of like, I did what I could. Maybe I wasn't the best dad, but now I'm at like a nursing home or something somewhere, and my kids want nothing to do with me. It's Valhalla.
Yeah.
It's the like celebratory place of the gods forever. And Odin just wants to see his son.
All day. Oh man. So to be respectful of Will's time, we are going to kind of maybe go a little bit faster with these next few pages, but still try to give, you know, the artists and Mr. Ewing their due. The next page actually refers back to the Odin Brunhild conversation in Valhalla, where Eric, one of the sons of Amora the Enchantress, the son that we thought was probably going to come back when Magni came back, that little curveball Al threw our way, she shows up before the gates of Valhalla as Jane. And if I hadn't have seen the rest of the page, I would have gotten very excited, because I was like, okay, where's Jane in this book? And then it was that Amora twist. I was like, God, Al, you, shifty guy. And Amora's got a really sad kind of through line here, is that like, she's traded a lot of things for power, and she gets locked out of Valhalla. She can't go within to be there. And we get, honestly, one of my favorite pages was the next page, Will. It was, I believe, Phil Noto's page, where we see, we're going to call him Balder, but this is clearly Henry Cavill from The Witcher. But Balder has this really like down to earth conversation with Magni. And I really feel like Al nails everybody's voices, because he just knows how to do this. but he nailed Balder. Like that voice, that gentleness, that kind of that at peace with everything vibe. Well, what did you think of them bringing Balder in? We haven't really gotten Balder in a while, maybe even since Jason Aaron's run, if I'm recalling that correctly.
Yeah. I mean, I was glad to see Balder back. Right, I think he's a character that Al would, of course, write really well, but Balder's type specifically. So yeah, it was nice to see just kind of providing a different perspective on what Asgard is and how you can live life there. Somebody who's kind of seen it all, done it all. He's been dead. He's been the king of Asgard. He's been,
I think that's actually an underrated quality of Balder is he's done it all. Like he's been king. He's been dead. Like, he's everywhere in between. He's been there and done that. Yeah. The next page, kind of a page that we're really big fans of because we love us some Martin Coccolo. And as we tell people often on the podcast, he is kicking ass with Wolverine. Yeah. But it's kind of like picking up a Hulk comic and wanting and having that nostalgic Nick Klein feeling. I pick up an issue of Wolverine and I'm like, I get it. I understand. Like, you have that bit of, oh man, now I got to go read the first few issues of Immortal Thor, or I've got to go read Banner of War or Deadpool, books like that. And this scene felt really like it was very lore heavy, Eric, like the implications of this page. There's a lot happening here.
Heck yeah. I mean, cut to me frantically flipping back to Immortal Thor number 8 and like looking up names. I'm like, the hooded one, Medjed, and the bull Kemur, and who's Nurgle. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love a good lore dump, and I love this. This is like catnip for me. I'm like, this fills my afternoon. I'm like flipping through, like, have we seen this person before? Like, what's gonna happen?
By the way, Eric, when I picture you flipping through notes, I picture that scene in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf's just like in the dungeon flipping through old papers and he's just stuff.
That's accurate. Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
But yeah, I mean, Baz, I'll clock you. I'll give you a minute.
Okay. Go. Yeah. So, Will, awesome of you to let him do Utgard Loki again, because his version of that character is so amazing, and getting to see the like juxtaposition between Tuaz and Utgard Loki, the two different, like very different elder gods, very different Utgard people, but just the blending of those two styles in one panel together like that is just amazing. And it's one of those things that like Martin can do that shit, he can bring that together. So it's great to see that. It's nice to have him back for a page on Immortal Thor.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
He was one of those names where we were already gonna buy the book. Will, we're always gonna buy Thor books, but it was like, oh, okay, now I have to like extra buy this one. Right. But the next page was very kind of a similar feeling too, because it's Lee Garbett doing Loki, and it's Al Ewing and Lee Garbett doing a Loki thing, and it was like this, like peanut butter and jelly, man. This like it just makes sense. So. And I know kind of we're asking the same question, but like, is this one of those pages where it's like, well, it's a Loki page. It's the Loki page in the book. Really, Lee Garbett, are you free to do a page for us?
Yeah. It was a lot like that. I mean, when an opportunity like this came up, we had to go to Lee for a Loki page. And he took it on without question. Like, I think I asked him, and then I think he turned in the layout for the page, like, later that afternoon. Like he's just always at the ready to work with Al again and to do stuff with Loki again. So yeah, it's always just and it was very cool to see him draw this version of Loki too, so it was great to have Lee back.
And like you were right when you said like this version of Loki, because this is not a version that he really got to play around with, because this was one Martin really brought to life in one of the, I believe it's the first issue of Immortal. We get this like very almost like I feel like it's Broadway Loki. Like it's glamour Loki. I absolutely love this. I mean, speaking of other great artists like Humberto Ramos on the next page, the Strange Academy approaches, like, Eric, you're the one of us that's read the most Strange Academy, and you really love that book. But what did you think of this page?
It's fantastic. Obviously, I mean, when I think of Eric and Alvi, I think of Roberto Ramos. Like it feels young. It feels very modern. And I think if you're going to have somebody playing video games in a Thor book, you've got to find a way to make that look like it makes sense.
And it's got to be a Star Wars video game too. Look at that X-Wing. We see what that is. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
X-Wing.
But I mean, imagine this just the way that a teen would cope with the death of their twin brother. I mean, so he's obviously feeling sort of like spiteful, sort of brooding, isolating himself, and and Amora is meekly sort of like, can I make amends? Can I not? Can I change? Can I not? And then her definitive everything then at the end. And that everything has been a theme in this book. It's been carrying through because Scourge was thinking of like, what is everything if I give up the one true thing? And Amora is thinking like, what if I could have everything? But what if I have to sacrifice everything to get that? So just really, really kind of puts her back in that light of, is she the big bad? I mean, this is Amora as the villain in the last panel.
Yeah, I agree. Like there's his style kind of like I always think Roberto Ramos is kind of like a more cartoonier style. And I could be wrong on that, but like the next page, like David Baldeón goes like full like Disney filter on this thing.
Looney Tunes, yeah.
Blackjack O'Hare is like, I mean, well, I don't know any other way it says, like Blackjack O'Hare feels like a Disney Channel character in a Thor.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Except he's trying to kill people all the time.
Okay, a different kind of Disney Channel show, but I love the almost like the Hercules animated movie approach that he went with Magni here. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Reminds me of Mike Oeming's art on some of his Asgard and Asgard related stuff. Yeah.
I just love it. It's very playful. It's very whimsical. I loved that page. Then we see Uller. Uller makes Scourge a new blood axe, and it's badass. And we see a little bit of a Sif within the fire, Uller's flame. Now, Faz, Eric, you, and whatever Will can contribute to this. You guys know, like, sometimes I need my friends to help me read comics. Why is Sif's reflection in the fire? Baz, Eric, help me, please.
Because she's seeing the wheel in the sky. She's guarding the bridge, and so they are coming. They are coming, and so Uller is just seeing her expression when she first sees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have looked at it for 5 more seconds and probably.
But you know what? It could have been something very random because it's Al, right? It could have been a thread somewhere out there. It didn't need to just be connected to the next page. Yeah. Maybe it is, and Will Moss is hiding it right now. We'll have to see.
The last page is, we get this lead in where Uller says, the Utgard gods come, and this time they come for Asgard. And we see Sif out on the Bifrost Bridge back to Jan Bazaldua's fantastic Cosmos scape, and the wheel is, I love how this was done. The wheel is set within these cosmic clouds, and true to form, Al gives us like no reason to skip the next issue because we're just shit is going down, and we already knew what the cover was going to be.
Right.
The cover is it's insane, Will. Like when you got to the end of this process, this issue, getting all these artists together, like what was this one of those issues where you're just like, man, we kind of pulled something off here. Like this was pretty unique. I know you've seen 1,000 different things at this point in your career.
Sure. No, I felt good because I think sometimes these issues with guest artists, they can feel like they don't all assemble into one cohesive read, but I felt this did. I felt like it all worked pretty well as a whole. So yeah.
Guys, if you have anything piggyback off this one, like there was not a point in this book, Will, where I was taken out of the story by one artist take that didn't feel like it belonged. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like you're right. It flowed so well. It was smooth, and every artist brought their own little unique twist, but none of them were like so categorically different that I was just like, okay, that was weird. Keep going, I guess. Guys, how'd you feel about the synergy of the art? And then I know we got to let Mr. Moss go, but Faz has like one last like Ultimates question he wants to ask.
Well, I can stick around for some Ultimates questions. That's cool.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Miles.
In terms of this, so this was like the perfect way to set up this next big thing. All of the pieces, all the knives are sharpened, I should say. All of the bad guys are in line, and it's time to find out how Thor handles having all the anger at his door, basically. And this, to begin 2025 with this, which is like, it's like you said, it's almost like a pause issue, but you guys didn't take it as a pause issue. You could have, and you were like, what if we did the opposite of that and just like put it into 150 miles an hour and went instead? Yeah. And now we're all in place where we get to see how Thor deals with Amora after him, Scourge after him for different reasons, the Utgard gods after him for different reasons. Sif's pissed at him. Heimdall has issues on the other end of the world. Everybody's coming at once, and Amora's doing her stuff, and Magni's just around hanging out with a rabbit. And it's crazy to see this all come together.
They're partners now, Baz. They're partners.
Yeah, well, because he needed someone stupid, right? That's what he said. You look pretty stupid.
Power Stone's off doing his own shit now.
Yeah.
Eric, did you have any like final recap of the flow of the issue?
Yeah, I guess, when I read the pitch for it or the solicit for it, I thought, it's going to be an anthology issue. It's going to be like a lot of little individual stories, and that would be fine. That would be enjoyable, but it really wasn't. It was different scenes, but it was all one story. And actually, a lot of really important stuff happened. A lot of pivotal moments. A lot of characters feel like they've turned a corner. We have a new Blood Axe. We have characters with new motivations. So actually, it feels like we were sprinting through this because it covered so much. But the artists, each of their pages captured the mood perfectly, I think, because there's definitely a vibe on each page, a tone, a mood for it. And so I think that didn't take me out of it at all to switch between artists like this. I think it all felt incredibly appropriate for what we were seeing on each of the different sort of vignettes.
I agreed. Like, it was such a great issue, and so far the front runner for issue of the year in 2025. The Immortal Thor 14 won last year, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is so good. 13 and 14 were so good, and now clear front runner. But okay, Faz, here you go.
Okay. Listeners, for people who aren't aware what's going on here, the Ultimate Universe is a full reimagining. It involves the Maker, but that's kind of the biggest piece that comes from the original Ultimate Universe. And Denise Camp, Hickman, Will Moss, a whole bunch of amazing people have come together to build out this new world. Thor exists in this world. He's a prisoner of Asgard from Allfather Loki, who's taken over for reasons that we don't have a lot of detail for. There's some lore in it. But in Ultimate 7, Denise gave us this page talking about Sif and Thor and talking about them trying to start a rebellion and to retake the 9 realms. Mr. Moss, can you tell me what's been going on with Thor and if we can expect to see something exciting down the line with what he's doing here?
Sure. I mean, the Ultimates 11 is all Thor, all Sif. Like, we follow up on where that goes, Ultimates 11. And that's a gorgeous issue. Juan Frigeri is the main artist of the book, and he's drawn this issue as well. And it's great. Denise and Juan just have something really special up their sleeves. Like, it's well, go ahead and say, like, every issue is a splash page. And so it just feels like that page in 7, where it was a double page spread of just one image of Thor and Sif at the foot of the World Tree. And it's about Thor's journey to kind of build an army. The whole series of Ultimates is kind of about like an uprising, like resistance, like the struggle to make things right again. And just if things have gone wrong on Earth there, things have also gone wrong in Asgard. So Thor and Sif have gone off on their own to kind of build an army from the 10 realms. And so 11 is just all about that. And we see it's a really special issue. I think people are going to like it a lot. So for Thor fans, definitely don't miss that one. It's
listeners,
cool.
we got to buy this one enough.
Before, it's a good one to check out.
Guys, we got to buy this issue enough that they see the one and they make an Ultimate Thor book for us. Give me a 6-issue mini of Thor versus Loki like this. Oh my God.
Well, don't it's like, don't let us will you into an Ultimate Thor book, but like that would be cool. That would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Marvel Rivals has a similar story with Thor and Loki, and everybody's loving that. So there's clearly a want for this sort of everything's gone wrong. Thor's got to fix it. Loki's leading and he's not supposed to. In terms of Ultimates in general, the previous Ultimates was like a more modern retelling of the characters for a new age. This one is more, the world has gone to shit. Things have been ruined by one way or the other, but the characters at their core are still the characters. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about what it's been like with Ultimates in general, getting to see all these talented people put together their spins on these characters in this alternate universe that is already so full and is clearly one of Marvel's best sellers right now? They're all doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wonderful experience working with all these people in the books, and just letting them kind of have a lot of freedom to explore what these versions of the characters would be like in such a world. First and foremost, what Hickman's been doing on Spider-Man with, a Peter Parker that only doesn't become a hero until he's in his mid-30s and is past the point where he had the life lessons, but is still learning those lessons now, and as a hero with a family. It's been really great. Peach Momoko on Ultimate X-Men has just been she's one of the most unique talents out there, one of the most creative and special people making comics today. So it's been amazing seeing her kind of just reinvent what mutants are in her little corner of the Ultimate Universe. Brian Hill and Stefano Caselli on Black Panther have really been like just having all kinds of crazy fun with Wakanda and how it emerges into the world, and who this T'Challa is when he's got like a Storm and Killmonger as allies, and inventing all kinds of new takes on vibranium. He's got a lot of crazy stuff up his sleeve coming up. Ultimates has been just a killer book just from the jump. I think that's the book that really kind of makes the most of this world that's gone wrong and heroes setting out to fix it. And I'm thrilled with that book. And Ultimate Wolverine, that's the new baby of the line. And Chris Conner and Alessandro Cappuccio are just, I don't know, they were both, I feel like, kind of born to tell Wolverine stories, and theirs is just getting started. So it's been a great experience. Yeah.
Well, I just my only interjection with Ultimate stuff, Baz is definitely the one that's like he's kept his hand on the pulse of everything there. But I just picked up Ultimate Wolverine because I follow Mr. Cappuccio on Instagram from another comic that he has done. And he started revealing these images of this Wolverine that I'm like Wolverine's objectively badass, period. Right. But this Wolverine, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Yeah. And I picked it up, I read it, and I was just like, I think I have to read Ultimate Comics now. I will. I think I'm sold. I think this far in, I finally got sold. Sorry, Faz, all of your hype did not.
You know what? No, Ryan, that's all good because that's the way these Ultimate books are going. Everybody tries one and then goes, holy fucking shit, these things are so good. Let's get the rest of them. And then they get in the whole line.
I was like, okay, I get it. It was awesome. Like there's so many cool little bits in here, and very cool take on Logan, and what's his how he's motivated in this book is very interesting. But Eric, did you have any Ultimates questions? And we'll let Mr. Moss get out of here.
I don't have an Ultimates question. I just have a question for Will, because I feel like a lot of our questions do they just feel like they're about work, and I don't want to talk about work on a Saturday, but I want to know more about you. What gets you fired up and excited? What gets you oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing in the world? Or does it feel like, hey, I've seen a million things in my line of work and I've got to keep a level head about stuff? I mean, just give me a read on that.
No, I'm not jaded or anything like that. I mean, it's a lot of fun getting to work on these books. It's just having kind of front row seats to the creators when they come in with these ideas and these directions and these story ideas. It's been that's kind of one of the best parts of the job, or when a creative team really kind of clicks and gels and really collaborates well together. That's definitely one of the best parts of the job. So that's the kind of stuff that gets you excited. Working on runs like Immortal with Al and Jan and Matt and everybody, that's when you're building towards something and you kind of know where it's going, but it's still an experience getting to learn the specific steps. It's a real thrill. Yeah.
Will, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Sure. I really appreciate it, especially on a Saturday, like Eric just said. Good grief. When Faz,
thanks for doing this on Saturday. I appreciate that. Yeah.
We're incredibly grateful for you, not just from a creative point of view, but also like you've just been so generous over the last few years with being able to sit down and talk with us. So
appreciate all the love that you guys put out for the book and the character. Like it's really, it helps like, fuel the fires that there's people out there that are knowing that people are out there digging the stuff that Marvel and stuff are putting out there. It's great to see. So we appreciate that. And all the people you guys have brought on, like you brought on Joe a couple of times. Like it's great that you guys shine lights on every aspect of the books and stuff. So really appreciate that.
We'll have on any Thor creator we can get. We'll let that blanket invite just kind of sit there. Anybody that's written, drawn, lettered, edited. God, I mean, you've done more Thor than we've ever done. So might as well ask the people that made it happen. Is there anything we can promote for you, social media, anything like that we can point people in a direction of, or is that not?
No, not really too big on like advertise myself on social media or stuff.
Okay.
So just keep supporting the books. That's the best way to do it.
Should people write you letters to put in the books? For sure. Right. Right. I mean, you've had one in there, right? Yeah. I did.
Ryan had one. I got one. Immortal Thor 15, the best cover, I think, has my letter in it. So that's pretty happy about that. And then I had Al sign it at New York Comic Con. So I've had
that's great.
Pretty good run. Yeah.
Yeah. Right into MHeroes at marvel.com. Yeah. For my favorite letters column, the title, If They Be Worthy. I love that one so much. So, yeah.
Thor has had some really good letters column titles throughout. This one is top tier. But thank you so much, Will. Appreciate it. And everybody else, you can check us out. Discord, Instagram, Patreon. Faz, you want to hit people with those things, or that's kind of your shtick, man?
I'm good with it this week. I think we've covered so much issue that the listeners that are here, like you know where to find us on the stuff. You focus on getting Thor 19, Ultimates 11, and the other 10 as well, but especially Ultimates 11. Let's get an Ultimate Thor mini going. Let's start the push online, and we'll go from there.
Good. This is our campaign now. Thank you, Will. We'll cut it here, man.
If it be worthy, it shall possess the power of Thor.